One of the largest banks in the United States is on the verge of collapsing, going under. Is another domino about to fall? Michael Schneider reports. Our system was greatly shaken when Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank suddenly collapsed, but we seem to have weathered that storm. But what will happen if an even larger bank goes under? As of March 31st, First Republic had approximately $290 billion in assets, and that makes it much larger than Silicon Valley Bank was when it finally imploded. A $30 billion rescue plan that was hastily put together last month was supposed to stabilize First Republic, but that has not worked. On Tuesday, First Republic shares fell by 50% after the public learned that, quote, customers withdrew more than $100 billion during last month's crisis, end quote. First Republic's their shares plunged 50% after a troubling earnings call where company executives refused to answer questions. How is that possible? They refuse to answer questions. Can you imagine? They're holding your money and they won't answer your questions. The stock dropped Tuesday after it emerged that customers withdrew more than $100 billion during last month's crisis, with fears swirling that it could be the third bank to fail in quick succession after the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. Unfortunately for First Republic, the carnage continued on Wednesday. Shares of First Republic were down another 29.75%, and so far this year, the stock price has fallen by a total of more than 95%. Let me try to put this into perspective. On February 2nd, First Republic stock closed at $147. Today it closed at $5.69. Unbelievable. That is what a collapse looks like. The reason why this is happening is because customers have been pulling their money out of First Republic at a pace that is absolutely staggering, and in fact it's being reported that First Republic lost 40% of their total deposits in the first quarter alone. This week's drop for First Republic comes after San Francisco-based lender late Monday said it lost roughly 40% of its deposits in the first quarter. First Republic was seen by customers and investors alike as a risky bank after the collapse last month of Silicon Valley Bank, which had a similar financial profile. And if 11 of the largest banks in the country had not agreed to collectively deposit $30 billion of their own money in First Republic last month, that figure would have been closer to 50%. Taking their money out. Now, but those deposits include the $30 billion that 11 large banks deposited in the bank in March to prop it up and keep contagion from spreading. Without this influx of $30 billion, deposits would have dropped by 50%, so this was really a nip and tuck. Unfortunately, that rescue plan was not nearly large enough, and so now First Republic plans to beg those banks for even more help. The best hope for avoiding a collapse of ailing lender First Republic hinges on how persuasive one group of bankers can be with another group of bankers. Advisors to First Republic would attempt to cajole the big U.S. banks who've already propped it up into doing one more favor, CNBC learned. The pitch will go something like this, according to the bankers with knowledge of the situation. Purchase bonds from First Republic at above market rates for a total loss of a few more $1 billion, or face roughly $30 billion in federal deposit insurance corporation fees when First Republic fails. Ouch. I think that those large banks would be quite foolish to throw more good money into the First Republic black hole, but we shall see what happens. In addition to pleading for assistance, First Republic also plans to lay off thousands of employees. The bank says it plans to sell off unprofitable assets, including the low-interest mortgages that it provided to wealthy clients. It also announced plans to lay off up to a quarter of its workforce, which totaled about 7,200 employees at the end of 2022. Will all of this be enough to turn First Republic around? Of course not. As one expert explained, if First Republic still had any good options left, they would have pursued them already. Catherine Judge, who works as an analyst at Columbia Law School, said that there is no easy solution for First Republic. She said if there were attractive options, they would have pursued them already. This is what she told The Times. Meanwhile, the overall economy continues to deteriorate all around us. On Wednesday, Amazon conducted layoffs in their cloud computing and human resources divisions. Sadly, these new job cuts are just the latest wave in the largest layoffs in Amazon's 29-year history. The layoffs are part of the previously announced job cuts that are expected to affect 9,000 employees. Last week, Amazon laid off some employees in its advertising unit, and it has let go of staffers in the video game and Twitch live streaming units in recent weeks. Amazon wrapped up a separate round of cuts early this year that affected approximately 18,000 employees. Combined with the cuts this month, that marks the largest layoff in Amazon's 29-year history. Amazon is one of the wealthiest and most prosperous companies in the entire country. If they have decided that it's necessary to conduct multiple mass layoffs because the economic outlook is so grim, what kind of signal does that send to everybody else? In recent months, Google, Microsoft, Disney, Walmart, and countless other large corporations have ruthlessly pruned their payroll. But don't worry, Joe Biden says that the economy is going to be just fine. You believe him, don't you? Don't let anyone fool you. The economic meltdown that we have been waiting for is here, and it's going to be incredibly painful. This was written by Michael Snyder. About the author, he says, "My name is Michael, and my brand new book entitled End Times is now available on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 6 other books that are available on Amazon, including 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing, and one way that you can really help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short, and I need help getting these warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I've also started a brand new Substack newsletter, and I encourage you to subscribe so that you don't miss any of the latest updates. I have published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the most important news, and the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making any legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, and any way that you can share these articles with others is definitely great help. These are such troubled times, and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. This is on the Economic Collapse blog by Michael Snyder. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.